This is a Louisiana-style sausage gumbo with a twist. Gumbo is one of these historic melting pot stews with a deep, rich flavour that gives license to play with a few key ingredients, one of which I'll be diving into in today's video. Emerging from the deep south of the United States, a Creole Cajun gumbo is the state dish of Louisiana, and it consists of a stock base, the holy trinity of vegetables, meat, shellfish, and specific thickeners, including a French-influenced dark roux and okra. Now, if you've never tried gumbo before, it's quite unlike anything you might have tasted, i.e. it has serious flavour and can carry pretty much whatever variety of protein you want to put in it, which is why I've chosen this recipe to try out a cheeky swap from my usual pork sausages to this plant-based sausages. My name's Emma and my background's in animal welfare science, and as we go, I'll be sharing more about pigs, sausages, welfare and production, and why trying out new proteins can make a big difference to the future of food. To start this off, we need to make a dark roux, which is kind of exactly as it sounds. Place a heavy bottomed pot over a low to medium heat, add 2 tablespoons of butter and 2 tablespoons of sunflower oil. When the butter is melted, add about 4 tablespoons of plain flour and whisk to combine. You want to turn down the heat so it doesn't burn. You'll need to constantly stir this until the colour of the flour is at least a darker sort of peanut butter colour. The smell will become toasted and nutty. It can take several minutes of stirring depending on how much you're making and how dark you want it. This took me about 6 minutes. A dark roux like this isn't used much outside Cajun and Creole cuisine, which makes this a really unique dish. And if you've never made it before, the changes to the colour and smell are really important markers. It is quite exciting when it happens. Now, I could have made this much darker, almost like a chocolate colour.
Yeah, what color would you call that?
I would call that getting into dark chocolate, like 65% pure cacao.
But the smell was already very toasty and I kind of chickened out. Once the roux is where you want it, you'll then be adding the holy trinity of Cajun stew bases, which is onion, celery, and bell pepper. Now in this recipe, I've used 2 small brown onions, 2 sticks of celery, and 1 bell pepper. Dice these up and throw them into your roux, add a pinch of salt, stir, and let them cook for about 5 minutes until they start to sweat down and soften. The spice blend that you use here is going to be key, but just be careful what kind of pre-made blend you might buy, because some Cajun seasonings often come with lots of salt. Trust me, I've made that mistake before. So we only want a blend with minimal salt added. So I have this beautiful spice blend that I bought from a market in Montreal. I'll be using about 2 tablespoons in this recipe, but in essence, you might not have this yourself. So the ratios are the following. You will need 2 teaspoons of paprika, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of dried oregano, half a teaspoon of black pepper, half a teaspoon of white pepper, if you have it, half a teaspoon of chili powder or cayenne if you like it a bit spicier, half a teaspoon of salt. Back to that, and 2 tablespoons of your Cajun spice blend, and let these toast for a minute or so. Add 2 cloves of grated garlic, or if you have a jar of minced garlic, just use that. Give it a stir, and then toss in 1 bay leaf to add whatever flavour bay leaves add to it. Next, so in a jug, make up 630 millilitres of vegetable or chicken stock. Here I use chicken stock, but whatever you have is also fine. And then add that to your pot, add half a tin of crushed or chopped tomatoes, and then most importantly, 175 grams or about 2 cups of sliced okra. This acts as the unique thickener to the gumbo in combination with the roux. So give that all a good stir, bring it up to a boil, turn the heat down and let it simmer away for about 20 minutes and just give it a stir now and again.
I totally forgot to add that you also need to zest and juice 2 limes and add that into your gumbo.
Now onto these sausages. Heat a separate pan or a frying pan with about half a tablespoon of oil. Slice up 6 of your sausages on a diagonal and fry them for about 7 minutes until they get nice and brown in parts, and then add them to your gumbo. Now, while that simmers away, it's time to dive into the key ingredient of today's video, the sausages, and more importantly, the animals that they're made from. So pigs are culturally a very divisive animal around the world, and throughout history, debates never settle on whether pigs are clean or dirty, good-natured or menacing, or even healthy to eat. What we do know is that pigs are incredibly intelligent, they have good memory, problem-solving skills, and express complex behaviours and emotional states. We do them a true disservice in the way that we treat and eat them as a society. And if you're curious about where you sit in all of this, Whether you're a meat traditionalist or consciously trying to make swaps here and there, I've put together a free quiz to find your protein personality type. The link's down below if you want to give it a go. Pork is one of the most popular meats in the world. China alone keeps about 500 million pigs at any one time and makes up about half of the global pig production. More than 90% of pigs in the world are kept in intensively farmed, overcrowded conditions, often with brutal social hierarchies leading to aggression, tail biting, and painful unauthorized tail docking. And to summarize why that's an issue, too many unhappy, unhealthy pigs is a recipe for disaster, and it's only a matter of time before swine flu mutates into the next pandemic outbreak. Just to keep things light on this channel, and even then, if you decided to rise above all that and spend your money on better welfare standards like organic or outdoor reared pork where pigs can and do live a better life, you can check out another video I made on that here. The standard method of slaughter using CO2 gas is scientifically agreed as being unacceptable and in dire need of change. And that's just in the UK, which sits at the top of the global leaderboard for animal welfare benchmarks. This isn't good for many reasons, but one of the biggest reasons why it sucks is because pork is really tasty. Don't know if you've noticed. Now, circling back a bit, the traditional gumbo recipe calls for French andouille sausages, which, if you don't get them, they're a little bit like Polish kielbasa, which you can buy in Lidl. Maybe wouldn't recommend, partly because of all the reasons I've just casually mentioned. I wanted to avoid processed pork altogether and try something which I know texturally is really similar to meat sausages, cooks just like them, and hopefully tastes great in this recipe. Now, I could talk about how alternative proteins like this are ultra-processed and what the nutritional content of it is and blah, 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 but I'll keep it real. I'm not eating sausages because of the health benefits, and probably neither are you. But if you are interested, this particular brand has less saturated fat than regular pork sausages and still a high protein content. So if you're looking for something as a semi-regular swap out, this is definitely a way to go. But I can and I will go into the ultra-processed food debate in other videos. If you have a particular product that you'd like me to explore, just let me know down in the comments. So this isn't a sponsored video at all, but I should probably mention the brand of sausages that I'm using. This, which is a B Corp certified company, and that's committed to sustainability and the circular economy, so we do like that. They do also have lots of different products, and just from looking at them in the supermarket, they're probably about as real looking as it gets to meat mimics. If you're in the UK, you can get these at most supermarkets except Lidl and Aldi for now. So I'm hungry and I really want to know what this tastes like and how these sausages fare in this particular gumbo recipe. So I'm going to give it a go. I cooked it with rice just because that's what you normally have it with. So there we go. Let's have a taste. So nice, like the sausages themselves have their own, like they taste like sausages. They don't taste like the same sort of smoked sausages that you'd get specifically for like this gumbo. But it works really well. The texture as you bite into it is really nice and meaty, and it kind of has that sort of like sausage bounce, which is good. They held together really well. Even though the actual stew is really, really well seasoned, you can still taste the sausages because a lot of plant-based products, especially with things like tofu, they don't taste as much. Whereas these actually do taste really good by themselves, and they carry themselves within the actual dish as well. I haven't made gumbo for probably about a year, 18 months. And every time I do make it, I just forget how unbelievably tasty it is. For the other thing to mention as well is like the okra. And that is still an essential component of the dish. So if you are making this at home, don't skip it. It is part of what makes the stew thick. Because as you cook the roux more and more, it loses its thickening qualities, basically. So you can make it in batches as well. It works really well for meal prepping if you wanted to go down that route. It works really nicely as an alternative to making chili for like a potluck or like a big dinner around with friends. If you make it with cornbread, we're just singing. So it's so good. I know I've talked a lot about the problems that pigs face and our insatiable demand for highly processed pork. We can work towards change. Obviously, factory farming is not going to end overnight. In the meantime, you can try and reduce your pork consumption. make reasonable swaps to the best welfare products that you can afford, preferably those going to be organic or outdoor reared, until at least legislation changes to more humane slaughter methods. What's more, in the meantime, you can pick recipes like this gumbo. You can play around with different alternative proteins, and most importantly, that still feed your soul. I'm going to be tucking into this now, but if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to my channel, Eat Feel Future, and let me know in the comments which of your favorite recipes you'd like to see me try out with an alternative ingredient. And then I'll see you in the next one. Bye.